we need to see bodies like IPOA working. That is how to gain public trust, because they are the ones who are charged with the oversight role. They are the ones who are supposed to come after these policemen. Have they started doing that? Based on the report that we saw, I think a week ago, personally, I feel that is very inadequate. They have not even started doing the work. So how are we going to be able to trust them if they don't even do their mandates? And not to water down the sentiments of the IPOA lady who was here last time. I must have forgotten her name, I'm sorry. But people were not impressed with the kind of answers she was giving that day. It looked as though she was being evasive. She was not answering the questions. We want to know, what are you doing about it? What steps have you started taking about on these matters that are being reported? You cannot tell me that you cannot find the bullet that shot Rex, and that's why you can't do anything. Who's supposed to find the bullets? Who's supposed to do the what is it called when the examination? Is it us? Are we the ones supposed to bring the evidence? That's their job. So once they start doing their job, then the public will automatically give them the trust, yes. Once they start doing their job. Yes.
I'll come around for a second and final round of questions. And you know, you've all spoken from your perspective. You're also in different fields, but it's a very shared narrative. And the thing that I've also been trying to ask myself is, what happens next? Where do we go from here? Because I feel like it's just one of those moments in history when you wake up and you don't really know what's going to come tomorrow. But we have a chance here to rewrite history. And I often feel like sometimes Kenyans have been, somebody once said, Kenya is like Africa for beginners. Yeah. And the way they described it is that perhaps there's been so many difficult moments, and it's not devaluing what we've gone through. We have been on the brink of many unfortunate moments, you know, whether it was 2007, whether it was going all the way back to Mau Mau, whether it was COVID, whether it was the floods. There's been so many moments, and yet it's a month in, and people feel like, oh, maybe there's a solution on the periphery. Personally, I find that worrying, but I also get that maybe we've internalized that normalcy of where somebody says you're used to the crumbs you get, right? So we do need to continue the conversation, but how do we move this forward? You can answer from a personal perspective, from your space and your industry. How do you think we move forward today? Yesterday, there was really violent arrests. The intimidation, as Elizabeth has said, it's escalating in a really dangerous way. It's silencing, and there's a submission that's been enforced. So what happens next?